Come on in, come on in. We are here. Are you ready? Get cozy, get comfortable. My bad here. Lights here. There we go. I'm gonna close this play. Local 777. I'm gonna rewind that part. Let's go. Electrical workers. How sweet. Big screen. Are we here? Let's go. Let me know if y'all can hear me. Get in, get comfy, get cozy. Let's enjoy these brave people. Wow, wow. Very sad, eh? Just months before. It's not good. He wouldn't have quit. All of us. Oh, yeah. A steal. Oh, the bike shop. Sadly. In a New York minute. Here's our hope, guys. Canada first. Is my sound working? Yeah, I can hear. Mm-hmm. Yeah, let me check this out.
Endorse Pierre Poilievre to be our next Prime Minister. We'll build signs for him. We're going to knock on doors. We're going to get out the vote. For our hope, for our champion, for the next Prime Minister of Canada, Pierre Poilievre. That's a full 10-fold increase in federal union training dollars. $1 billion over.
All right, I had to rewind that part, guys.
You can bet Mark Carney's going to leave Canada in a New York minute. But there's hope.
Volume to bit.
That knows Pierre Poilievre very well. We can proudly tell you that Pierre has our back. Pierre's been putting Canadian people to work. and Canadian workers first. You can bet Mark Carney is going to leave Canada in a New York minute. But there's hope. There's hope. There's our last hope. His name is Pierre Poilievre.
Back on track.
Pierre's the only hope for Canada workers. You see, Mark Carney fooled Justin Trudeau, and we can't let him keep fooling us Canadians. Local 773, which I represent, knows Pierre Poilievre very well, and we can proudly tell you that Pierre has our back. Pierre's been putting Canadian people to work, and Canadian workers first. Local 773 began working with Pierre Poilievre and the Conservative Member of Parliament, Chris Lewis, some years ago, when it became all too clear that the Liberal Party had zero interest in helping out us workers. Upon winning leadership of the party, Pierre made Local 773 his very first priority. He came to my union hall. Pierre made the Local 773 visiting our training center, and he met all our workers. And he made a pledge to me. He's not going to turn his back on us, and I believe him. Pierre was a
right
keynote
back,
speaker
guys. I'm
at the
getting my
105th
dinner.
gala I held for the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers some years back. And back when he was there, he was the only politician warning everybody about the runaway spending in Ottawa. And nobody really listened to him. Nobody really got it. And after the devastating effects of inflation on our workers, look what we have right now. Over the last Liberal decade, Trudeau and Carney invested next to nothing for workers. That's why Pierre Poilievre has promised, and if you've seen it come out today, 350,000 tradesmen he's going to train on a federal level. That's a full 10-fold increase in federal union training dollars. $1 billion over 4 years. Pierre wants to invest in us. Pierre wants to invest in Canadian workers, and Pierre wants to see the best for workers. Canada first for a change. This is why I can proudly say that the apprentices and journeymen of the International Brotherhood of Electric Workers, Local 773, endorse Pierre Poilievre to be our next Prime Minister. We'll build signs for them. We're going to knock on doors. We're going to get out the vote. For our hope, for our champion, for the next Prime Minister of Canada, Pierre Poilievre. Just off the beach, in honor and in brotherhood, Pierre, we have your back. Okay, I'll keep talking.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Bring it home.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Kathy
Hang on tight,
Burley.
guys.
I am the candidate for Windsor Tecumseh Lakeshore. I'd like you all to take out your cell phones, turn your flashlights on, and wave them. I'm going to lead you in singing "O Canada."
The national anthem. Let's get up and stand up before I start eating. Good timing.
O Canada, our home and nature.
White in Canada. On guard. On guard. Glorious and free. We are standing. Bring it home, guys. Bring it home.
Hello,
Right now
Windsor,
it's
Leamington,
foreign soil.
Chatham, Kent, Essex.
Righty, I don't know
I'm
what
Dave
you're
Epp, the
eating,
incumbent MP
but
and
I'm having
candidate for
steak and
Chatham, Kent, Leamington.
potatoes.
And I've got an important question for you.
Let me know what you guys
After a
eating.
lost liberal decade of rising costs, rising crime, and an economy that's down under the American thumb, do the Liberals deserve a fourth term?
No.
Is it time to put Canada first for a change?
For
With a
change.
new conservative government that will axe taxes, build homes, unleash our resources, stop our crime. Yeah? Bring home jobs so that we can stand up to Trump from a position of strength. And who's going to deliver that? Pierre. Pierre is the only one that can bring change to Canada. You know, last weekend, I celebrated my 40th anniversary. With Charlene, right here. 40th. That's a ruby anniversary. A ruby. Red, like our flag, and the Liberals don't own the color red. And we celebrated it by campaigning. But that's my job. My job here tonight is to introduce another wonderful woman. I have the pleasure of introducing Madem Poilievre. Here, here. Anita is an entrepreneur, a dedicated advocate
Anita.
against human trafficking,
Anita,
and a
for
staunch
sure.
supporter of women's empowerment.
Tough cookie.
Here, here. As a father of 4 daughters, here, here. Born in Venezuela, raised in Montreal, Anita moved to Ottawa in 2006, where she met her future husband, Pierre, in 2012. And they were married in 2017, so that makes their ruby anniversary 2057. In 2024, she launched Their Stories Matter, an online platform dedicated to giving a voice to the survivors of human trafficking. Anita is here, here.
Very
Anita is
dangerous
committed to
sector.
supporting women and elevating
Take on.
them through their online magazine, through her online magazine, Pretty and Smart Co., and her Leader Forward initiative, which seeks to pay it forward by inspiring, connecting, and elevating women. But she will tell you that her most important role is to be a supportive wife and a proud mother to Valentina and Cruz. And so, without any further ado, it's my honor and pleasure to give you Madem Poilievre.
She's coming. We gotta wait for the beat, guys. Yeah. I'm gonna put it a bit. Then let you guys fix up your volume, and then I can leave it there. Ho ho ho! YouTube. I think that's YouTube doing this, guys. Let's check it out since I'm behind. Okay. There, yep, that's YouTube. Or maybe technical difficulties. We'll give you the benefit of the doubt, YouTube.
Who's ready to bring it home?
One here. Ready.
Hello, Windsor. Well, here we are. Here we are at a crucial time where we must decide whether we are going to elect for a fourth time the same Liberal team. The same Liberal team that has weakened our economy, left us with unaffordable housing, rising crime, and vulnerable in the face of the threats of Donald Trump? Or are we going to elect a conservative government who's going to put Canada first for a change?
For a change. For a change.
So, who has voted already? You have to get out and vote, everybody. That's the only way that we can put Canada first for a change.
Yeah, we gotta go vote. You will go.
This journey began for my husband and my family a little over 3 years ago, when my husband decided to run for the leader of the Conservative Party of Canada. And ever since, he has been traveling from coast to coast to coast so that he can step away from the Ottawa bubble in the elite, go on the ground, and to hear Canadians directly. Boy, oh boy, did they share their struggle with us.
Yep, that was a smart idea.
What we truly really need is a government and a leader of the people, by the people.
Where's the people? In Windsor.
Leadership is not born in the boardroom of the elites. Leadership is not born from fancy degrees or fancy titles. Leadership is born from those who have been here fighting for our countries, our true patriots, those who care. So yes, my husband has been right here at home, and he has been fighting with us, all of us, for way more than 3 years. He spent most of his adult life right here, fighting for our youth, our families, our seniors, to put Canada first and always. So you know, when Mr. Carney looked down on my husband because he's been here all along fighting with us.
Jealous.
I'll tell you what. He tells my
I'm
husband
joking.
that he doesn't know how the world works. Well, my husband knows how Canada works and how to make Canada work for all of us.
For all of us, eh?
For
Help
Mr.
your
Carney,
friends.
the economy is about how he can get more for his personal investments. For my husband, the economy is about how can Canadians afford food and a house and a good life.
Life is miserable right now.
You know what? I love all of my husband's policies, and I believe they're truly going to make Canada great and that we're all going to move forward with that. But in order to understand why we do this, You need to know the men and the family behind those
All right, I
policies.
gotta go get some
My husband, he was born in
tomato
Calgary,
salad. Be
and he
back.
was born from a teenage mother who gave him out for adoption to two school teachers, Dawn and Marlene. They worked really hard and they lived paycheck to paycheck. They worked really hard and nothing was handed out to my husband. He had to fight for everything. I was born in Caracas, Venezuela. There's some of you here. I was born in Caracas, Venezuela, and my family immigrated here when I was 8 years old in 1995. We moved in the east end of Montreal in a working class neighborhood. It was 6 of us in a very small 3-bedroom apartment. My father's first job was to pick up fruits and vegetables. Back home, he was a manager for a bank. He used to wear business suits every day. But when he came here, he traded all of that for secondhand suits and pick up fruits and vegetables. Later on, he had 3
Shout out to
jobs at the same
Montreal.
place all at once. He would wake up at the crack of dawn, 5 a.m., to deliver newspapers. Then he would head to his second job that was making socks from 7 a.m. until 3 p.m. Later at night, he would come, grab a quick bite, and then go and clean offices in the evening, 5 to 9. 3 jobs, 1 day. All that so that he can feed his family. By the time that I was 17, I had moved out of home and become 100% financially independent. When I turned 19, I left Montreal, moved to Ottawa, not speaking English. I took a student loan, put myself through university, and worked full-time so that I can pay rent and food. And when I turned 25, I was working in the Senate, and I had saved enough money, $25,000, for a down payment for a little townhouse in the east end of Ottawa. I was still single. That was a few months before I met Pierre, so it's all mine. That little townhouse
That's a good
was
one. Funny cookie.
$230,000 back in 2012 under the Harper government era where you could still afford a house. So ladies and gentlemen, that was the Canadian promise, that if you come to this country, if you work hard, you can get ahead and you can live the Canadian dream.
Yep, that was promised to me too.
This is who we are, the Poilievres. And this is what we stand for. We with you, and we need you with us. And that is why it is my pleasure to stand by my husband's side every single day of this campaign to fight with him to restore the Canadian promise. And it is my pleasure to share him with all of you. My husband, the next Prime Minister of Canada, Pierre Poilievre.
Sister is very emotional there. Yeah. This will get to you after a while. Yes. There's technical difficulty definitely with the music. So yeah, this salad is pretty good. Jalapeno pepper, green onions, tomatoes, lemon juice, minced parsley. Hmm. Yeah, we cut the music. That's annoying. Sorry, guys.
Thank you, Windsor. Who's ready to vote for a change?
Oh, yeah.
Who's going to vote to axe some taxes for a change?
All of us.
Who's voting to stand up for Canadian workers for a change?
I will.
Who's going to vote to build some homes you can afford for a change? Who's going to vote to stop the crime for a change? And who's voting to put Canada first for a change?
Well, if we're given the opportunity, right?
And I know just the team to vote for. We've got the team that's going to deliver that change. Let's hold up that sign back there. Look at that. Change right there. It's written there, right there. Change. Put that one down just a little lower. Keep Kathy up, but not quite high enough to block the change. Kathy doesn't want to block the change. She wants to help us deliver the change. And that's what we're going to deliver. And we've got the incredible Conservative team to do it. We've got the great Chris Lewis. Give it up for him. Harbinder Gill.
Harbinder Gill.
Kathy Borelli.
Is it Kathy Borelli?
Farmer, businessman, parliamentarian, negotiator, man who's got plenty of common sense and who's going to help deliver change on Parliament Hill, Dave Epp. There he is. But before I go any further, I have to take a moment to celebrate one of the great citizens of Windsor. We have here the local leader, the business manager of the IBEW Local 773, Carl Lovett. What a great speech. This is a shocking endorsement coming from the electricians. Okay, all right, I thought it was good. Dad joke. I've got 2 kids now. I'm allowed to tell those jokes. Just one. My wife says I'm only allowed to tell one every speech. But you know, I remember when I met Carl. I drove over to the IBW local, and when I got there, there was a sign that said, "Only Canadian-made cars allowed on the lot." And he's warned me that you got to be careful you don't get a flat tire if you're not driving a Canadian-made car on his lot. He's a very patriotic guy. We sat down and talked, and the first thing he wanted to talk about were not politics, not policy. He wanted to talk to me about hunting and fishing. He loves to hunt and fish. Then the second thing, he wanted to talk about his family. And then he wanted to talk about all his friends and how proud he was to be from Windsor, and how proud he was of the electricians that he represents and fights for, and how his only wish for this country is that once again we put our workers first for a change. Thank you, Carl.
For a change.
And on that subject, I regret to have to begin tonight with the terrible news of the layoffs at the GM plant in Ingersoll. I spoke to the union representative for the area, Mike, earlier today, who was heartbroken and rattled with the conversations he would be having later that day with family members, learning that they would be going, friends and family and brothers and sisters would be going home to tell their kids that they no longer have a job. Now, let's start with the obvious fact that the destructive tariffs of Donald Trump are utterly unacceptable and wrong, and we will fight back against them. But we will also fight to protect the jobs of our workers. Conservatives will put in place a fund to give liquidity to our manufacturers, to keep paying workers, keep them employed, minimize the disruption until hopefully...
Damn, Donald. No, you do affect people's life anyway, right? Consequences. Repercussions.
Automobiles. And that's why I'm pleased to announce that as Prime Minister, for as long as these tariffs are in place, there will be no federal sales tax on Canadian-made cars and trucks. We will fight for the workers, and we need a plan to do that. But right now, the Liberals, under Mark Carney, have no such plan. He told Canadians that he had a very productive phone call with Donald Trump and that they made progress. Well, what progress? Just days after this productive call, Trump actually increased tariffs on Canada, and then a few weeks later, he paused the tariffs on almost every country in the world except Canada. Now, to be clear, I'm not blaming Mr. Carney for Mr. Trump's wrong-headed tariffs. Nobody can control what President Trump does. But that's exactly the point. Mark Carney is running on the false promise that somehow he can magically handle Trump or control him into doing what he wants, when it's precisely the opposite is the case. Obviously, we will fight to get an end to the tariffs while protecting our sovereignty, starting on day one. But we must focus on what we can control in this country. And what we can control is reversing the disastrous liberal economic policies that put us in this position of weakness in the first place. That is the lost liberal decade that Mark Carney is trying to distract you from. In fact, the entire Liberal campaign is about trying to make you forget about the last decade. Pretend it just never happened.
Yeah.
As if we didn't have 40-year highs in inflation. It just didn't happen. As if that we didn't see food prices rise 37% faster in Canada than they did in the United States under that lost Liberal decade. Make you forget that housing costs have doubled in Canada.
Nothing happened, right?
Rising faster than in any other G7 country. That it costs 50% more for a home on the Canadian side of the border than on the US side. And that you can actually buy a castle in Sweden for a lower price than a mid-size house in Kitchener. They want you to forget that Canada has had the worst growth in the G7, the worst household debt in that same group of nations, that our economy has been shrinking for a decade in per capita terms, all before the Trump tariffs kicked in. They want you to forget that $500 billion of our investment dollars have fled south, and they want you to forget that all of these economic failures happened while Mark Carney was acting as Justin Trudeau's economic advisor. Now, the same Liberal MPs, same Liberal ministers, same Liberal strategists are trying to get you to elect them to a fourth term in power. My friends, after the lost Liberal decade of rising costs and crime, we cannot afford a fourth term. We need a change in government with a Conservative Party that will put Canada first for a change. Aujourd'hui, M. Carney a essayé d'éviter l'imputabilité en suspendant sa campagne électorale. Il dit travailler sur les tarifs. Mais quels sont les résultats? Zéro résultat aujourd'hui. En fait, il y a plus de tarifs sur le Canada aujourd'hui qu'il y en avait quand M. Carney est devenu le premier ministre. Mes amis, il veut que vous oubliez le fait que les libéraux ont doublé le coût de la vie, ont augmenté la criminalité pour vous faire tromper et vous convaincre de les élire pour une quatrième fois. Il ne faut pas le faire. Il nous faut un vrai changement avec un nouveau gouvernement conservateur. My friends, we need a plan to put our country first, to get us back on top. Look at this young guy over here. How old is he? Right on Dad's shoulder. Young, he's too young to vote, unfortunately. Look at this incredible kid. We got kids from all ages. He just popped up. We got some more kids over here. It's their future that we're fighting for, isn't it?
Wow.
They deserve a brighter future. We want to bring back the great Canadian promise. So that little guy and everyone, that little girl over
Future
there,
generation,
will have the chance to work hard, buy a house, start their own family, live on a safe street, have a beautiful life here in a wonderful country. That's what we had growing up, and that's what we want to restore for all. But that means bringing it home. You know, we are chanting the Bring It Home slogan. It is meaningful, that slogan. It means two things. It means bringing back our jobs to this country, and it means that you bring home more of each dollar you earn so that hard work once again pays off. That's what it means.
Bring it home. I'm filling up my bingo card, guys. Bring it home is right in the center.
And it starts with income tax. In Canada, we have these high income taxes. They're like a fine that you pay for the crime of working hard.
Fine.
Right?
For sure.
I love this meme of this kid. He's in this park with his dad. He said, and the kid's bawling his eyes out. He's asked his dad, what is income tax? And his dad says, well, it's like a high school report card, except the opposite. The harder you work, the worse you do. You put in an extra hour, you pay more. You get a bonus, you pay more. You get a promotion, you pay more.
You pay more.
No good deed goes unpunished with our Income Tax Act. That's why conservatives want to change things. We want to make work pay again. And I'm announcing today, this is a Liberal microphone, I think. That's why I'm announcing today, conservatives will cut income tax by 15% for the average senior and worker.
That's a great thing. We could all keep that money in our pockets.
So you keep more of each dollar you earn, and hard work actually pays off for a change.
No.
As I said, we'll be axing sales taxes on Canadian-made cars, but you need a home to park that car in the front of. And right now, housing costs are among the most expensive in the world here in Canada. Are they pricey in Windsor? They've gone through the roof. But there's no roof because there's no house you can afford. So why is that? Well, the answer is because bureaucracy blocks home building and politicians tax the purchase of a house. 1/3 of the cost of every new home in Ontario today is direct taxes. Sales taxes, land transfer taxes. We have also these development charges, which are effectively municipal taxes. Then there's the delays. It takes 7 years to get a building permit, 3 times as long as it does in the US or the UK. All of those delays bring costs, and those costs go to the home buyer. And that's why it's almost twice as expensive in many border towns to buy a house than it is on the south side, or in this case, it's not the south side, but you get my point, on the American side of the border. So we have to tackle the problem. And that's why I will lead the charge in slashing bureaucracy and taxes on homes. We will eliminate the GST on new homes of under $1.3 million. But we're not finished. Then I'm going to make a generous offer to your mayor and every mayor. I will pay half the cost of any reduction they make in their home building taxes, up to 50 grand. So let's put it this way. Imagine you cut the GST by 50 grand on a home, you cut municipal taxes by another 50 grand on a home, all of a sudden you have $100,000 less tax on a new home. That'll cause more home building and more affordable homes for you to buy.
Wow.
And then
jump.
there's investment taxes. Now, a lot of time we hear the word investment, everybody's eyes glaze over and say, why should I care about what investment number the Canadian economy gets? Well, the answer is, those are the tools, the technology, the plants, the shop floors, you've got the CNC machines, the conveyor belts. All of that takes investment. And without those machines, we don't have paychecks. Well, the Liberals have raised taxes on investment and driven $500 billion of that investment south because capital goes where capital grows. Now, it's funny, they thought they were going to win over a lot of union workers when they raised capital gains tax. They didn't realize that tradesmen actually like to buy homes, fix them up, beautify them, make them better, and then sell them off to a deserving family as part of a living, and they have to pay capital gains tax for that good deed. So a lot of small business people get hammered with it as well. And that locks in investment and locks down our economy. That's why I want to bring the money home. And so I've announced the Canada First reinvestment tax cut. 0 capital gains tax if you reinvest the money here in Canada.
Well, well, well. This is what the U.S. did.
Bring it home. That's what it means to bring it home.
Bring it home. You gotta bring it home. Our stuff too.
That will allow,
everybody's
for
bringing
example,
their stuff
a
home.
factory that has some unused land, sell it off to a home builder who can build some homes, and then the factory can use the money to expand and hire more workers. It'll allow a small businessman who's selling out after 25 or 30 years to reinvest that money in another Canadian enterprise, or a high-tech entrepreneur to invent a new technology and create more stuff that make us all better off. We have to get rid of the worst tax of all, though. It's the inflation tax. The inflation tax happens when the government prints money to pay for out-of-control spending, and you pay the bill through higher costs for everything. Geez, it sounds like a helicopter is landing on the roof or something. What's that? I think it's just the audio machine, so nobody has to freak out. But anyway, listen, like I said, it's a liberal microphone, it's a liberal speaker system, but we're going to talk right through it. The reality is, we'll push right through it. The reality is the government has caused the worst inflation in 40 years as a result of increasing our money supply. This is bills, coins, and bank deposits from $1.8 trillion to $2.5 trillion, all to fund reckless deficits advised on Justin Trudeau by Mark Carney. Now, you might say, well, what's wrong with having all this extra money? Isn't money a good thing? Well, if there's stuff to buy with it. But if you increase the supply of money faster than the stuff that money buys, well, then you bid up the cost of everything. If you have an economy with 10 apples and $10, well, it's $1 an apple. If you double the number of dollars to 20, and you still only have 10 apples, you're not twice as rich. Each apple now costs twice as much. Now, the people who get that newly printed money first, those in the financial system, those with the contacts, they get rich because they get to spend and invest the money before it loses its value. But everyone else gets poor, and that's why your purchasing power goes down. You see, the costs are not going up. The buying power of your money is going down. That is what inflation is. And it's all the result of massive overspending in Ottawa. We're going to end the overspending. We will cut bureaucracy, consultants, handouts to corporate insiders, foreign aid, and other waste so that we can bring our money home and bring inflation down.
I'm going to cut these unnecessary funding.
We will also bring in a dollar-for-dollar law. It will run our finances the way you run your household budget. If you increase spending here, you decrease it over there, or you get a bargain here and there. That's not how government works. You see, because politicians and bureaucrats are the only creatures in the universe that don't have to deal with scarcity. They're spending other people's money. As a result, they just add more and more to your bill. By imposing a law that requires they find an equal number of savings for each new dollar of spending, it will require them to maximize use of scarce resources, to get more value for money, and to make the same kinds of trade-offs in the government bureaucracy that you have to make in your daily life. Because single moms, small businesses, and seniors have been pinching their pennies long enough, it's time that government started pinching its pennies. And so this election is really about the cost of living. Do we want a fourth Liberal term of rising costs and taxes? Or is it time to bring down the cost of living, protect your purchasing power, and lower your taxes for a change?
Yeah.
You see,
yep, lower the taxes.
Let's bring it home. Let's axe the tax. Smart lady over there. Great sign. We've got some good signs. Very smart people in Windsor. We've got another axe the tax sign. Fantastic. What else do we got? We got jail, not bail. That's right. Excellent. Protect jobs. Change. Lots of change. Lots of people want change today, that's for sure. This guy has WTF on his shirt. WTF. I said that in the House of Commons, and the Speaker thought that I was being unparliamentary. I was just asking, where's the funds? Right? It's a pretty fair question.
Where's the funds? Where's the money?
Interesting.
Follow the
but
money.
My glasses are still on. Why haven't you removed my glasses yet? They fell off. Pretty good looking picture, eh? What do you think? Thank you. That's a pretty impressive sign. Well, listen, instead of creating more cash, what we need to do is create more of what cash buys. Oh, we have here somebody. Okay.
Probably medic is needed. There's always nurses around. Look at these ladies. There's the nurses. Bless you, ladies. Whoever's around. We need you everywhere, like little angels. Nurses are like little angels. Don't you guys agree? I think so. Not doctors, but nurses. Yeah. Somebody probably needed to sit down. Here's a medic. Give the people a bit more space. All is well, all is well. It happens when people have to stand up for a while and a big crowd, and if it gets warm. We do have a very different immune system, everybody. Yeah. Look at Anaida. Anaida is like getting involved, like what do you mean? We gotta let paramedic do their thing. And all should be well. Looks like they gave them enough space. Oh, let's hope everybody. Oh, let's hope this person is fine. Somebody's praying for them. May we pray for them too. May God be with you and keep you safe and alive. This is sad. I can't read lips. So this must be a little serious. Oh yeah, fuck. I guess he's going. I hope this person is fine. Oh yeah, okay. Oof. Big crowds are very, very tricky. I don't know about you guys. I'm not a big fan of a big crowd either. I do feel claustrophobic and hot and lack of oxygen. Looks like they're gonna be fine, huh? Let's see if we got a bit more volume. Mm-hmm. Okay. All right, we're back. I need to lower this a bit so it doesn't yell out anybody's ears. Let's go see back the volume. It's coming. It's the liberal mic. Don't worry, guys. No, we got
All
a
right,
new joke.
everybody, she's going to be okay. Give her a
Good
round
job.
of applause.
Well, I hope y'all applauding. I applaud. Yes,
You know,
amen.
sometimes when I get droning on a little bit long, I put people to sleep. So it's a cure for insomnia. But my friends, I appreciate you all standing on your feet so long. What an incredible crowd we have here. This is amazing.
Yeah.
I know it. It's a long time to stand up. In fact, CBC is reporting that there's over 25 people at our rally today.
Over 25 for sure.
Numbers whenever they're strike. But numbers rule the universe, as Pythagoras said. And the numbers count. We need to bring home our investment dollars as well. That means unlocking our resources. And part of my Bring It Home plan is to repeal the No New Development Liberal Law C-69.
Great Canadian resources.
We're going to build Canadian pipelines, Canadian factories.
People are hungry for work, for
We're going to dig
purpose.
Canadian mines. We're going to build great Canadian can-do reactors with Canadian uranium powering them. And this is a big difference.
Nuclear energy.
Side, Mark Carney wants to keep all of the same keep it in the ground extremism as his predecessor and protege, Justin Trudeau. Mr.
Protege for sure.
He says he wants to keep C-69, the no development law, keep the energy cap that blocks our industry from producing more oil and gas while allowing the Americans, Venezuelans, and Saudis to produce as much as they want. He says that 80% of our oil will have to stay in the ground, which means
they've been in the ground
that's
all this
like
time.
burying our biggest and most important financial asset. This is a great way to make us even more reliant on the Americans, but that's the choice in this election. Do you want, after a lost Liberal decade, to keep our wealth in the ground, block our resources, and depend on the Americans for a fourth Liberal term, or do you want to unlock the power of Canadian energy, Canadian mines, Canadian steel, and bring it home? You know, we're also going to get rid of the entire carbon tax, the industrial tax, the whole thing.
Damn, the carbon tax.
Axe the tax.
Our gas is at $1.30 now.
We're going to axe the tax.
Like, it was
This is the tax
$1.24
the
at
Liberals put in place
Costco.
for 7
Really?
years. They expect to fool Canadians by hiding it at the gas pumps for 28 days, even though it is still on the books. And they could raise it right back up the day after the next election if, God forbid, they were to win again. Mr. Carney says he wants to hit Canadian steel, aluminum, potash, and other essentials with this tax. I will axe the tax for real, for everyone, for good, for a change.
Forever and ever. For change.
We will cut 25% of the rules and regulations that the Government of Canada imposes so that our small businesses spend less time filling out paperwork and more time hiring workers and serving customers. We're going to unlock the power of our entrepreneurs again, and we're going to reinvest in the next generation of people who build stuff, make stuff, move stuff, and make stuff are working tradespeople in this country.
25%
not
cuts
suits.
on businesses.
Do we have any trades in the room today? Wow. Look at this.
The trades.
What do you do, sir? What are you? A bricklayer. You know, Winston Churchill was actually a bricklayer. He wasn't very good at it. It's too hard a job for a politician to do, but nevertheless, a very important job. So you a mason as well? Okay, full-on mason. Fantastic. That's tough work. Requires a lot of patience. What about the gentleman behind you? CNC machinist. That takes a lot of brain power. Those machines are very impressive. Anybody, what do we got over here? You're a steam fitter? Plumber. Plumber, right on. Plumber. A good union plumber. United Association? Right on. You got a great union. Nate, yes, your union has endorsed us as well. Thank you very much to the plumbers and pipe fitters. Nathan Bergstrand. What do we got over here?
Fitters. Good job.
What's that? A tool maker. Okay, so welder. Excellent. That's fantastic. Yes, who else do we got? We got another trades. Yes, this young lady here. A laborer. Excellent. Very important. Hard work. Thank you very much. Very young lady. You know, I'm actually doing an apprenticeship myself. Cabinet maker. Cabinet maker. Okay.
You're gonna be working in the cabinet.
That joke from John A. McDonald, the truth is be told. What do we got over here? What do we got over here, Tommy? We got carpenters everywhere. The guys with the hammers. Amazing. You know, the tradespeople are the future. I tell every young person, get yourself a trade. Not only will you have a practical skill, it'll teach you how to solve problems. It will teach you how things work. You can then turn that into a business and employ a lot of people.
Yes.
The best business people I make today are actually from a trades background. It's not the lawyers and the MBAs anymore. It's the tradespeople. They're the ones that are going to be ruling the world. And we need more of them.
Oh, yeah. Because the lawyers are going to need them too.
We've got a
they
real
can't
plan
do
to
shit.
I've announced that I'm going to be partnering
They're
with
going to need
unions
everything.
like the UA, the IBEW,
They never bother to learn the
more
basics.
to fund 350,000 training placements for our young people in the trades.
Great job. Education. You should have gotten trades.
We're going to.
I should have too.
We will bring back the $4,000 apprenticeship grant. We'll speed up the EI so that our workers can have money in their pocket when they're taking time to do their placement. We'll also bring tax fairness. A CEO can write off the cost of his private jet, but right now the working guy or the working lady can only write off $4,000 to travel between job sites. So you're flying to Fort Mac 20 times a year. You're not going to make it on $4,000. So we're going to bring in the bill from Chris Lewis, a great bill.
Yeah, that's unfair. It's for work too.
Tax
Should be able to.
fairness for traveling trades workers act, so you can write off the full cost of
fairness.
food, transportation, and accommodation to go from one job to another.
For travel. Amazing. Nobody thought about it. Nobody cared about them.
And every high school principal is going to get a present.
Oh, but guess what? Carney
box,
does.
the size
He
of
gets
the
his
stage.
cut.
In that box,
His expenses
will be
paid
a module for each
since
licensed
forever.
trade, so that they can get their 13, 14, 15-year-old kids started on a pre-apprenticeship, so that they can get a jump start on a Red Seal before they even graduate from high school.
Wow.
Boots,
right.
not suits.
Future.
That's what I call it. But we want these great tradespeople to bring the job and their paychecks home to safe neighborhoods. So we have to stop the crime for a change. Is there any crime in Windsor?
Stop the crime. This is my last piece on the bingo card.
You know, your 16-year-old daughter.
It's sad.
Wow.
Can't hear it, but it's very horrible.
said this guy killed a young lady. He was out in 7 years and did it again. These are the stories we hear every day.
Can sense it. It's
Rampant
not a nice story.
offending again and again and again. Do you know they tell the police now that they are not even worried about getting caught? It's too much trouble to try and avoid getting caught. So they don't even bother with it. They get arrested and then they're released again. The good news is we don't actually have a lot of criminals in Canada. The bad news is they are very productive. The same 40 offenders had to be arrested 6,000 times in Vancouver. In Penticton, there's one guy named Levi. When he's out of jail, he raises the crime rate for the entire city.
Terrible.
Everyone
One
in
person.
Penticton knows this guy. We've seen the countless stories. Of
Like a
people
TV show,
murdered
you could
by
have this
someone who's
guy.
out on bail, even
Yeah.
after they've committed multiple offenses. Women who are pleading with the system to keep their abuser behind bars, but they keep letting him out, and he comes back and reoffends and threatens the children. My friends, this is the madness that resulted from Liberal Catch and Release Law C-75, which requires judges release rampant offenders at, quote, the earliest opportunity and under the least onerous conditions. That's the law. Then there's C-5, the house arrest bill. So you can do serious violent sexual or drug crimes and serve your sentence in your living room, watching Netflix or playing Grand Theft Auto while you run the clock down on your sentence. And then there's C-83, the Liberal Get Paul Bernardo Out of Jail Free card, which allows him...
C-83.
My friends, we will repeal each and every one of these laws. Catch and release, gone. House arrest, gone. Paul Bernardo, back to a maximum security penitentiary. We will bring in mandatory life sentences for human traffickers and mass gun smugglers. And anyone convicted of 3 separate serious offenses will be permanently ineligible for bail, parole, probation, or house arrest. 3 strikes, and you're out. 3 strikes, you're out. And then there's the drug. There's the drugs that have overtaken our communities. Fentanyl, methamphetamines, and countless others. These deadly drugs are worse than anything we ever knew. When I was a kid, we were terrified of heroin. Our parents told us to be absolutely terrified of heroin. You know, fentanyl is 100 times more powerful than heroin. 2 milligrams of fentanyl.
Nobody's scared of it? Really?
And yet,
what's going on?
get
I'm scared.
after they sell kilograms of it. Then we have the government actually handing out opioids. They claim it's a safe supply. Well, if you get a safe supply of opioids from the government, then you won't overdose or die from a contamination, they say. The result has been that the dealers sell these government-funded drugs to kids at a discount and use the money to graduate up to fentanyl. And that has led to 50,000 deaths. My friends, these stories are tragic, and I hear them everywhere I go. Mothers and fathers telling me of their wonderful children. Some of them made one mistake, went to a party, had too much to drink, and took a single hit, which stopped their lungs. Others who got trapped because they took an opioid to relieve pain and never broke the addiction. Either way, the heartbreak is unbelievable. One man wrote me a letter saying that he held his wife's hand when she gave birth to their little baby boy. And then he held her hand 25 years later when the police knocked on the door to tell her that her boy had died of an overdose on a street corner. These stories have got to stop, and we have the plan to stop it. To start with, we will bring in mandatory life sentences for anyone caught marketing over 40 milligrams of fentanyl.
Wow.
Second, we will defund the opioids, and we will bring back
defunded for sure. It was funded.
For illegal possession. Third, we will invest in treatment, recovery, and rehabilitation.
There you go. Proper treatment.
We will fund, we lost 50,000 people to opioid overdoses. In honor of every single one of them, we will fund treatment for 50,000 Canadians to bring our loved ones home drug-free.
Yeah.
I told the young men that I met over at the Moncton Harvest House Treatment Center that I needed a favor from them. I said, I need you to get better so that you can get back on your feet, go back onto the street, and grab another person off the street, pull them in here so that they can get better, and then they're going to go out on the street and they're going to pull another person off the street, and that cycle of hope is going to end this crisis and save our loved ones.
Oh, for sure.
That's what hope means. And then there's our border, which
the experience and the
90%
knowledge.
of shipping containers come and go uninspected in Canada.
It's all within
you wonder
us.
where the drugs, guns, stolen cars move through our border? It's in those shipping containers. We don't even allow CBSA to monitor the points between official ports of entry. So people can just walk or send drones over the border, breaking our laws and threatening our people. My friends, enough is enough. We're going to secure the border. We will bring in watchtowers along the duration of the border. We'll hire 2,000 frontline CBSA officers by cutting consultants and bureaucracy to pay for it. And we're going to have high-powered scanners that look into the shipping containers to intercept the contraband. And you know how we're going to pay for it all? In addition to cutting back on the wasteful back-office bureaucracy and consultants, we are also going to cut the wasteful multi-billion-dollar gun grab.
That's it. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. He's saying it right here. Everything he will do.
Licensed, law-abiding, trained and tested sports shooters and hunters are not the problem.
No, they're not.
Mark Carney and the Liberals. Do we have any hunters in the room today? The Liberals will ban every single hunting rifle. Just the other day, Mark Carney re-announced Justin Trudeau's already broken promise on this file, promising to go after the lawful people, the ones who have already been vetted by the RCMP, have taken tests, are lawfully storing their property. He wants to waste billions of dollars and tens of thousands of police hours going around harassing Grandpa Joe, who has her hunting rifle. All the police think it's insane. The Toronto Police Association said this will make us less safe because they'll be spending their time going after the good guys instead of the bad guys.
That's it, I'm done.
This is the target, my friends. I will repeal C-21.
C-21.
We will protect hunters. We will honor the people who lawfully follow the rules. And instead, we will secure our borders and lock up those who sneak in with guns. Those people will go to jail for life, and our hunters will have a good life here in Canada. So the choice in the next election is after the lost Liberal decade of rising crime. Do we want to trust them with a fourth term, or is it time for a change with a new government that will protect licensed, law-abiding people and bring safety back to our streets for a change?
For a change.
But to make our country truly safe, we need to rebuild the Canadian Armed Forces. We will invest in recruitment to fill the vacancies that have so long grown up over the lost Liberal decade. We will buy 4 massive Arctic icebreakers. We'll double the size of the first patrol of the Canadian Arctic Rangers, and we will build the first Arctic base in the Northern Arctic since the Cold War, CFB Iqaluit. We're going to expand the cadets to give our young people mentorship under the guidance of military and ranger members who will teach them about punctuality, discipline, and countless other lessons that will apply as they learn to serve their country and prepare for the future. We will put our country first and unite our people by fixing the broken liberal immigration system.
Yeah.
We had the best immigration system in the world before the Liberals ruined it. They took on this radical century initiative, which seeks to increase our population to over 100 million people. We've seen the results. Adding people 3 times faster than we add homes leaves people without a place to live. And it's not the fault of the people coming into the country. They're good folks. They just want a better life. It's the fault of the Liberal government that has let this system spin out of control. When I'm Prime Minister, God willing, if I'm given the privilege, we will fix this system. We will end the fraud in the international student program. We will stop allowing corporations to undermine wages by bringing in too many temporary foreign workers.
He knows what he's talking about.
And we will cap population growth so that it is always below the growth in the housing stock, the job market, and in our healthcare system. We will bring our people together again. We're going to unite around our common identity, my friends. We're going to rebuild our statues, raise our flags, put our Canadian heroes back in our
Trudeau took it away. Bring it back.
We're no longer going to apologize for being Canadian. We're going to stand up for this country, bring our money home, put our people back in charge of their lives. But the only way you will get this change is if you vote for it. Are you going to get out and vote? Are you going to tell all your friends and neighbors that they need to get out and vote? Because you're voting for hope, you're voting for change, you're voting for Canada to have a bright future again. We will be a nation that harvests its resources, trades from Canadian to Canadian, builds homes for its youth, secures its borders, protects its vulnerable, honors its history, rebuilds its military, and raises its flag. We are not a nation of tax collectors and toll masters, of gatekeepers and grandees, of rulers and rule makers. No, we are a nation of artists and adventurers, of entrepreneurs and explorers, of workers and warriors, of pioneers and patriots. What binds us together is the Canadian promise that anyone who works hard can get a great life. That is the hope of Canada. So my message to you, if you are that single mother going to bed hungry, wondering how you'll feed your kids in the morning, have hope, because change is on the way.
Change is on the way.
To the auto worker, the steel worker, the aluminum worker who's worried about losing your job, have hope, because change is on the way.
Change is on the way. We only got 2 weeks. It's not far, guys.
To the mistreated veteran who wonders why his government disrespects him, that will be the case no longer. We thank you and we say, have hope, because change is on the way for you too.
Change is on the way for the veterans.
We will restore the great Canadian promise that hard work gets you a great life in a beautiful and affordable home on a safe street, protected by brave troops under a proud flag. Canada first for a change. Let's bring it home, Windsor. Thank you.
I guess there's going to be a lot of homes to be bought next year. Sweet, guys. There they are. Our future Prime Minister and his wife. And with that, I would like to say thank you for joining me. I'm your host, Madem-Oiselle. Have a lovely night and see you maybe the next rally. I'll keep track.